Titled Three Stories of Princess. Title The Princess and the Faithful Knight. Long, long ago, there lived a beautiful princess who was praised by everyone for her beauty. She was also a kind-hearted young girl and was raised to be a fair and just ruler. One bright sunny day, a prince arrives at her palace, meets her, and eventually they fall in love. One night, the prince takes the princess to a shady grassland at the edge of the woods. He says if the princess truly loves him, she must pick a rare flower called the scarlet rose for him. She tries hard to find the flower as she wants to prove her love for the prince. Finally, she finds the scarlet rose. But as soon as the princess touches the flower, she falls asleep. The cunning prince steals all the jewelry and riches of the princess and leaves her alone in the deep woods. The king gets worried about his daughter and sends his army to find the princess. The soldiers return disappointed. Many months later, the princess is found lying unconscious in the deep meadow. She is taken back to the castle. The advisors discover that the princess touched a scarlet rose and cannot be woken up. Therefore, they suggest the king let the venom run its course. The king declares that anyone who is desirous of marrying the princess must prove their faithfulness by waiting by her bedside until she awakens. Many suitors turn up hoping to marry the beautiful princess when she wakes up. But time passes by and the weary men leave one after the other. But one hopeful knight truly waits beside the princesses for her to wake up. One fine day, the princess wakes up and finds the knight kneeling. He narrates the entire story of her falling asleep. The princess is moved to tears, and the king is overjoyed. The king announces the wedding and a grand celebration takes place in the kingdom. Title The Princess and the Magical Feather. Once upon a time, there was a princess living in a castle. The princess was called Evelyn. She loved to play with dolls and pillow fights. One day she wanted to play with her sisters, Isabella and Suzanne, but that day they were punished. Her parents claimed Evelyn that she could play with her sisters the next day, but the next morning, her sisters had to travel urgently and it will take them a month to come back. After 2 weeks, a new family moved into her neighborhood. They went to welcome them, and Evelyn became friend of the girl living beside them, called Jasmine. One day, they were having a pillow fight when suddenly a blue feather came out of one of the pillows. They shaked it and brilliant sparks appeared. Jasmine said, "Evelyn, it seems to be a magic feather. Where can we check if it's magic or not?" Over that flower, said Jasmine, pointing to a withered flower. They approached the flower. Evelyn shaked the feather, aiming the flower, and suddenly, the flower began to raise. The leaves became beautiful. It was the most beautiful flower they had ever seen. Isabella and Suzanne came after a month. Evelyn and Jasmine told them absolutely everything, and they all became best friends after a few weeks, known as nature stars. Title The Princess Chocolate. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far away, there lived a beautiful princess named Isabella, who was affectionately known as Princess Chocolate. She earned this name because of her deep love for chocolate, which was as legendary as her kindness and beauty. In the kingdom of Sweetonia, chocolate was not just a treat but a way of life, and Isabella's passion for it brought joy to all the people. The kingdom was surrounded by fields of cocoa trees, and the air was always filled with the sweet aroma of chocolate. The people of Sweetonia were expert chocolatiers, and their creations were known far and wide. Princess Chocolate would often visit the chocolatiers, learning their craft and creating her own delightful confections, which she would share with everyone in the kingdom. One day, as Isabella was experimenting with a new recipe, a mysterious traveler arrived at the castle. He was a tall, enigmatic man with silver hair and eyes that sparkled like the stars. He introduced himself as Count Dark, a traveler from a distant land. He had heard of Sweetonia's fame and had come to taste its legendary chocolate. Isabella welcomed him warmly and offered him her latest creation, a rich, velvety chocolate infused with the rarest spices. Count Dark tasted it, and for a moment, a shadow passed over his face. He smiled, but there was something cold in his eyes that made Isabella uneasy. That night, a terrible storm hit the kingdom, and by morning, the fields of cocoa trees had withered, and the rivers of chocolate had turned bitter. The once vibrant Sweetonia was plunged into darkness, and the people were devastated. The chocolatiers tried everything to restore their beloved chocolate, but nothing worked. Isabella was heartbroken, but she refused to give up. She remembered the strange reaction of Count Dark and suspected that he had something to do with the calamity. Determined to save her kingdom, she set out on a journey to find him. After days of searching, she found Count Dark in a cave deep in the mountains. He revealed that he had cast a spell on the kingdom because he was envious of its happiness and wanted to bring darkness to Sweetonia. But as he saw Isabella's determination, something in his heart began to change. Isabella, sensing his inner conflict, offered him a piece of the chocolate she had made from the last remnants of the cocoa beans. She spoke of the joy and love that chocolate brought to her people and how it symbolized the sweetness of life. Count Dark hesitated but eventually took a bite. As he did, the bitterness in his heart melted away, and he realized the error of his ways. He lifted the curse, and the kingdom was restored to its former glory. In gratitude, Count Dark gifted Princess Chocolate a rare cocoa bean that would never wither, ensuring that Sweetonia's chocolate would forever remain the best in the world. Princess Isabella returned to her people, and Sweetonia once again thrived, with its rivers of chocolate flowing sweeter than ever. And so, Princess Chocolate and her kingdom lived happily ever after, sharing their love of chocolate with the world.